It started with a slip, a secret too intoxicating to keep, but too dangerous to reveal. I'd told myself it was harmless, just a fleeting moment of weakness, a spark in an otherwise monotonous life. But as I stood there watching him pack his bags, the enormity of what I'd done hit me like a tidal wave. I'd tried to tell him it wasn't real, that it was all a test, but the look in his eyes told me I'd already lost him. For months I had been feeling invisible. My husband, Ethan, was the quintessential good man, loyal, hardworking, dependable. But somewhere along the way, the spark between us had dimmed. Our conversations revolved around grocery lists and schedules. The intimacy we once shared had become a distant memory. And then, he came into my life. Michael, a coworker with a smile that felt like sunlight piercing through a foggy day. Michael was everything Ethan wasn't. Spontaneous, flirtatious, unpredictable. At first it was just harmless banter, a compliment here, a lingering glance there. But each interaction left me feeling more alive than I had in years. I convinced myself it was innocent, a little secret indulgence that didn't mean anything. But the line between fantasy and reality blurred faster than I could control. The first time Michael and I crossed the line, it felt like stepping into another world. It wasn't about love or commitment. It was about reclaiming something I felt I'd lost. He made me feel seen, desired, and for a fleeting moment, I forgot about the guilt gnawing at the edges of my mind. But the guilt always came back, sharper and more insistent with every encounter. I told myself it wasn't real, that it didn't mean anything. And then one night, Ethan found a message on my phone. A simple, "had a great time today" from Michael was enough to unravel everything. I'll never forget the way Ethan looked at me, like he didn't recognize the woman standing before him. "What is this?" he asked, holding up my phone. His voice was calm, but the pain in his eyes was unmistakable. I froze, 1,000 excuses running through my mind, but I couldn't lie to him. Not anymore. "It's not what you think," I stammered. "It's nothing. It's just a test." He stared at me, disbelief etched across his face. "A test? What does that even mean?" I scrambled to explain, my words tumbling out in a desperate rush. I wanted to see if I could still feel something. For us, for you. "So you cheated on me to test our marriage?" His voice cracked, and I felt the weight of my betrayal settle over the room. I tried to reach for him, but he stepped back, shaking his head. "You don't get to do that," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "You don't get to break us and call it a test." For the next few days, we barely spoke. The silence between us was deafening. I wanted to believe we could fix it, that he could forgive me, but deep down, I knew I'd shattered something that could never be repaired. And then, one evening, he came home and started packing his bags. "I can't do this," he said, his voice heavy with finality. "I thought I knew you, but I don't. And I can't stay here pretending like everything's okay." I begged him to stay, tears streaming down my face. "It was a mistake," I cried. "It didn't mean anything. Please, Ethan, don't do this." But he just shook his head, his expression a mix of heartbreak and resolve. "It's not about the affair," he said. "It's about the lies, the betrayal, the fact that you didn't trust me enough to talk to me. I can't be with someone who thinks so little of me." As I watched him walk out the door, the weight of my actions came crashing down. I tried to tell myself it wasn't real, that it was all just a momentary lapse in judgment. But the truth was, I'd made a choice, a selfish, destructive choice, and now I was paying the price. In the weeks that followed, I was forced to confront the wreckage of my life. The house felt emptier without Ethan's presence, and every corner seemed to echo with memories of what we'd lost. I deleted Michael's number, cut off all contact, but it was too little, too late. The damage had been done. I tried to move on, to rebuild my life, but the guilt was a constant companion. Friends and family offered their support, but their kindness only served as a painful reminder of what I'd thrown away. I'd hurt the one person who had always been there for me, and no amount of apologies could erase that. Looking back, I realize now that the test was a lie I told myself to justify my actions. It wasn't a test. It was a betrayal, plain and simple, and in trying to find myself, I'd lost the one person who mattered most. Ethan deserves better than what I gave him. And as much as it hurts to admit, I know now that sometimes love isn't enough. Trust, respect, and honesty are the foundation of any relationship, and without them, even the strongest love can crumble. I'll never forget the pain in Ethan's eyes as he walked out the door. It's a memory that will haunt me for the rest of my life, a constant reminder of the cost of my choices. And while I can't change the past, I can only hope that one day he'll find the happiness he deserves, even if it's without me. As for me, I've learned the hard way that some mistakes can't be undone. All I can do now is try to be better, to live with integrity, and to never take love for granted again.